Alright, folks, we have arrived at episode 95. Oh, the Lightning McQueen is nowhere in sight. And we are here for the Challenge Series Grand Championship qualifying week. Same rules as every other qualifying week. 5 races, all in the 675 class, because perhaps unsurprisingly, that was the category that received the most different, the most unique registrations for its race on Wednesday last week. Pretty much just stomping the other 4 series into dust. I believe it was in the realm of like 22 in the 750 class, 30 in the 600 class. And then it was like 33 in the 715 class, 40 in the 640 class. But then 675 came around and it had like 63. So obviously that's the one that's in high demand, so that's the one we're doing. But yeah, 5 races, all in the 675 class, not category, it's not a word. And in each race, the top 4 drivers will qualify for the CSGC. The starting grid will also be determined by that. So the person who wins the first race of the week will start on pole in that race. And the person who finishes first in the second race will start 6th, and so on. And the person who places 4th in the final race of the episode will start in dead last. But without further delays, because these races are a bit longer than the average, since they have a little more at stake than the average race, let us not waste too much more time on introductions and get right into the first race of the episode. We are green for the first round of qualifiers. Here, we take things to Monza, because that is always a very gentlemanlike affair whenever we run here. What the heck? Nakazato just went for a tumble there, somewhere in the leaderboard. Iwata just turns left under braking, turns right across Francesca Fidanzi. Really bangs up his car. Miraculously, though, Francesca herself doesn't take any damage from that. We are riding along with Chika Takami in her 2015 Subaru Impreza. Using the 4-wheel drive advantage, she's already up into the top half of the field and then some. A bit argy-bargy behind her, though. Get another look at the contact that was made into these turns here. Kira just slams into the back of Riho. That gives her a bunch of damage in the rear bumper. She already had some from turn 1. Dom just shoves Francesca off the track. They're 3 wide ahead of Chika there for 4th place. And Donnie Anderson's going to be victorious in that one, despite being in the middle of it. Takami catching Fernando whacking into the second of the Lesmos curves. And it is quite a pack formed for 3rd place, and Chika's gonna pass the whole thing in one go. Keith Kilgore and Nutri are some ways away, to say the least. Takami has broken away. DeFrisco is all out of shape heading out of Variante Ascari. He's lucky to hang on to that. He's got suspension damage now. I say it every time we race here, but Monza is the most expensive track on the Challenge Series touring schedule. Kilgore, despite his immense pace, also had immense rear damage. So he has to pit to fix that, and I'm sure a decent chunk of the field will be joining him in that endeavor. It is still a very close pack for third place now. Francesca down the inside, and they have missed the turn completely. Francesca and the robot try to outbrake each other, and they both end up missing turn 1. Meanwhile, Chica has very quickly caught up to the back of Kawashiro. Following the turn 1 chaos, race car, or R4C3C4R, and Donnie Anderson have broken clear of that pack as well, and really it's not much of a pack at all. Actually, that's a lie. Despite missing turn 1, Francesca is still in with the chance. She's right on the back of Travis Wild. I mean, considering the horsepower difference between the two cars, that shouldn't be too difficult an overtake to do. In the meantime, though, Takami outdrags Nitori into Ascari with relative ease. This is, I'm pretty sure, literally Chica's first race that she's taken in that Yo wasn't also on the grid. And, well, clearly she doesn't need the moral support. She's doing perfectly fine on her own. It is a Pedanzi 5-6, as Francesca is being shadowed by her own father. Donnie Anderson puts in a heater of a lap time, a 151 flat. He's on a mission to get up to the 2 leaders. Francesca goes ahead of the Taycan. And nope, Francisco is trying to defend from Thrasher, who goes way late on the brakes. Did Francesca miss the turn again? Yeah, I think she did. Both of them did. Alright. Twice now. And that makes Thrasher's a sudden dive bomb now for 4th place. Even despite missing turn 1 2 times already, Francesca is not completely out of the running yet. Remember, all you have to do to qualify is make it to the top 4. At the moment, that is Thrasher who's on the threshold. Nitori made a quick getaway with 4-wheel drive advantage and starting on the front row in the race. But it seems to be running out of steam a wee bit. Donnie Anderson's just gonna waltz on past her here, heading towards the final turn. And there's still 2 laps left to go. There's still time for more cars to overtake her. Thrasher is not far away, and neither is Francisco. And that's not to speak of the other people in the area that could suddenly gain pace, although Nico's not going to be one of them. She's been run into. I wouldn't look back at that, but we're gonna be running on razor's edge as far as episode timers go. But based on context clues, I'm gonna go ahead and say that the Taycan did it, because he has front damage, Heath has rear damage. The father and daughter run 2 wide through the first 2 corners. This time Francesca actually gets it stopped. And she'll make the pass on her dad. But it's not going to be too easy though. They make slight contact and Francesca goes wide, has to rejoin the circuit. It's a cold day in hell when even the Pedanzi family is getting a little aggressive to try and get into the top 4. And their target now is Nitori, who's fallen behind Thrasher. Thrasher is actually running down that Corvette, and neither one of them are really losing a whole lot of pace on Chica. Probably because of the fact that she's got plenty of grip and traction, but as far as top speed goes, that Subaru is very mediocre. Whereas a Corvette and a Mustang are going to be much more than that. Among the fastest cars in a straight line in just about the whole series, almost, honestly, much less the category. So Victory is on the run from two Fidanzi family members, and Derek De La Cruz is somewhat nearby. He pit and remained in 8th because he is still the leading car that has taken damage in this event. Only 7 cars have gotten through this race with no damage to their vehicle. Now here's the moment. Can Francesca get the car stopped this time? No! What the heck? That's weird. Normally the game will just reset them if they do that. Thrasher saw that coming, got out of the way. Francesca just literally Mario jumped off of one of the little speed bumps there and into the side of Donnie's car. They both have damage, but this is also the final lap. So there's no reason nor any possibility of pitting to fix it. I don't think Francesca's old man is super pleased with that overtake, but well, you know, I mean, everyone makes mistakes, but she's made that same mistake 3 times this race. Turn 1 has not been her friend at all, but she's into 2nd place now. And barring anything incredibly, like, astronomically unlikely, or just her missing a corner, she's gonna stay in the top 4 as well. Victory has nothing to offer in a straight line, and Francisco's A1... I guess A155, that kind of works. Doesn't really have much more in the tank either. It is between Anderson and Francesca Fidanzi for 2nd place. Thrasher's not close enough to get any more spots. He'll be fine to finish 4th and qualify for the championship. Chica, on the other hand, Chica Takami, is going to do a little more than just qualify. Out of Parabolica for the final time, she shall win the Monza qualifying round, with the hometown hero aggressively coming in 2nd, and 2 American muscle cars finishing 3rd and 4th. And so here we're looking at our qualifying quartet here of Chica, Francesca, Anderson, and Thrasher. Francisco nearly misses making it. If there were another lap and Anderson and Francesca had to pit, we would have probably seen him and De La Cruz make it. Or possibly, well, probably Neytiri actually. She finished 6th. But that is not to be. So with that said, I don't want to be a fly on the wall. I wouldn't want to be a fly on the wall when they met, when Francisco and Francesca met post-race. Because I know how Francisco is when it comes to making contact with other cars. Not the first time Don Anderson's had a problem with somebody representing that team either, but that is a long story. And the second race of the episode is away. And this time we head to Dragon Trail over in Croatia for the 2nd attempt, the 2nd qualifier of the week. My brain forgot how to make a sentence there, don't mind me. Down the inside goes our POV driver of Sarah Uni in her very Mercedes W14 colored Lexus LC500. Looks like it walked straight in from Need for Speed Underground 2. But like, several years in the future, because obviously this car wouldn't have been in that game. A little bit a different Lexus, but I digress. Only halfway through the first lap, and Uni is making pretty good progress, especially since she didn't even have 4-wheel drive advantages on her side. That car is very front-engined and very heavy, so it's like, it has the downfalls of 4-wheel drive, but none of the benefits. Even with maximum weight reduction in the car, Uni's car still weighs almost 2 tons. And she almost put both of those tons right into the back of Gemini's car, but narrowly avoids contact. As everyone conservatively makes their way through, I say everyone, apparently Gemini was looking for a pass there for some ungodly reason. Neptune kind of got blocked by, or Neptune kind of blocked Uni there, which is sort of ironic since they're like the best of friends, somehow. Gemini down the middle, how did he make that stick? That was insane. But unfortunately for him, Uni got a much better run out of the final turn, and has a slight horsepower advantage which carries her back to 9th. Ryusei Takahata is making his first appearance in a Challenge Series event in at least a month. I think actually 2. Surprisingly so. Whoa, Taro makes a huge curb hop, but manages to still get the pass done on Song. Temporarily. Might still stick. He's gonna have a better exit there. And he's gonna have more horsepower than that Genesis. Not more enough though, and he will have to kind of be used up a tiny bit by Uni there as we head through the S's. Nothing egregious, some big oversteer from the LC 500. The top 4 have currently broken away, as Ryusei leads the train of cars trying to keep up. Somehow not getting away from this train despite the fact that Taro, Hana, and Uni have been fighting for 6th for most of this lap. Down the inside of the Genesis. Uni should have that move done. Yeah, Hana pulls back down the track on exit there. Kind of conceding that that one was a loss. As apparently Yo's been arrested. She's been rear-ended by Samuel She's been... How do I say that? That was close. Say about the Bel Air a little bit. Uni narrowly avoids contact with Ryusei. Ryusei not having it, tries to crossover, double crossover. Oversteer from the Lexus again. That thing is unwieldy by the looks of it. Ryusei big curb hop, smacks into Uni, almost causes her to spin out. She manages to save the car. Barely. Knowing Ryusei, and knowing this is a rear-wheel drive car, wouldn't surprise me if there was a little bit of intent behind that. Or if there wasn't intent, there was probably apathy, like, oh well, it's only a rear-wheel drive car I hit, no big deal. But Uni is going to come right back at him a handful of turns later, down towards the dock, towards the seaside. And Uni gets turned right in on and forced onto the curb, nearly spins again. Kind of look at that from Uni's point of view. Yeah, and yeah, noticeable displeasure. She gives him the horn there. Could have had an overtake there, but Ryusei chopped her off at the curb. Oh my word! That's gonna teach him a lesson. Maybe. Doubtful. Huge damage to that R32. Yeah, Uni had enough. Just pinched him into that outside wall at the so-called death chicane. Now both cars have damage. Ryusei's basically his entire rear end of his car is just shattered. Most of Uni's front end is bad, and that's already rearing its head, and the fact that it's got some understeer problems. 2 laps to go, and my god, Uni's got some distance, I would say. And by distance, I mean about 9 seconds to catch up to the top 4 cars. Barbara has recently taken the lead and is... well, she's maintaining the gap, I would say. Meanwhile, John Large and Tyler McIntosh are hanging out in 3rd and 4th, having their own sort of one-on-one. Uni is now on her own little island, choosing to ignore the damage he's taken. It's really coming back to bite her, though, as the car is putting up a hefty amount of resistance to her driving at the moment. I would be too. The field is quite spread out. I believe 11th. I believe Jansen here may be the... yeah, she is the leading car that took damage at some point during the race, causing, you know, self-caused, as I reason to believe he were... Stop! He made contact with the back of Yo's Lancer. There we go. Stop trying to get yourself a frickin' sexual offense warrant. My god. Especially since that is a cop. It's the last person that should be rear-ending somebody. Take that how you will. Taro with damage, presumably caused by Gemini, since, well, Gemini has matching front bumper damage. It's the final lap, and you can see the distance between Uni and 4th place. It's not looking fantastic for her. Tyler's fallen off the back of John Large, who himself is catching up to Miyako Katsumi little by little. Barbara is still controlling the pace at the front, not really running away with it, but under no immediate threat from the Z8 behind. Uni is pushing that car for every little thing it is worth. I mean, why not, right? You are trying to compete for the... You're trying to get into the Grand Championship here. You gotta... You might want to push the car a little bit. Not too much, because you need a car to run the championship with. But, you know, getting there is the first step. And you don't get there by driving at half throttle. A wall tap through the dash chicane. Full force through it, though. So that may have been by design. Oh my word! I don't want to say I didn't see that coming, because I did. I mean, that's a desperation move. Probably a little bit of revenge too, considering how often NFR and Urban Estate have gotten together lately. That was from some ways back, and that seemed intentional because you got on and off the gas. So that was, yeah, that was incriminating. I'm pretty sure Uni might have done that on purpose. Like, she was aiming for him, because she turns out of it, I think. I don't know, it's hard to say for sure. I mean, obviously she definitely wanted to get down to the inside there. But regardless, controversy aside, Barbara Page wins the race. Miyako Katsumi and John Large right behind her. And Sarah Uni is going to come home to the checkered flag in 4th, grabbing herself a spot by definitely some means. I'm not going to say I'm proud of that. Over Tyler McIntosh, knocking him right out of the championship and giving both of them some pretty hefty repair bills. Uni, you're lucky that you and your sister cover your own cars, because I'm not paying for that. Round 3 of the episode, the 3rd qualifying round, is away, and we are at Kyoto Park. Not the full-length circuit, though, the mid-length circuit, Yamagiwa, I think it is. Here on board with one of the longest tenured drivers in the whole of the Challenge Series, Hikari Taniguchi. one of the series' original 6, which is ironic because that's lost a bit of its meaning as of late, seeing as, well, one of those 6 isn't even in the series. He's also passed one of the other original 6, that being Natsuki Narashi. In the original 6 of record were Gina Torini, Hikari Taniguchi, Shoji Hakure, Natsuki Narashi, Riley Blanchard, and Dedrick Schwartz. And ironically, one of those is currently leading the way, Dedrick Schwartz and his TDR Tuscan. Another shot. One lap, not even a full lap in the books yet, and already Hikari is looking at 8th place against Milo in the Genesis. However, now it's going to be 8th place against Violet of Vegas, as Milo makes a smooth move around her outside. You don't see that every day. Mainly because we don't really run this track very often, so you wouldn't see that overtake at that turn, because we don't make that turn all that often. Vegas wants that back. Down the inside, she will go on the Genesis and take 7th place again. Goes for 6th on Compa. We'll get that. And Taniguchi is just following the Maserati driver through the chaos, basically. One poor soul, that would be Jake Downey, had to pit on the first lap. And Chin is very scratchy. Vegas is on an absolute tear. Now she's ahead of Kasai and Joseph Miller. What? I think Kanya just had a brake failure, slides back into traffic, clobbering Compa along the way. Actually, she didn't really hit Compa, but she definitely hit Milo. I think that was a braking mistake there. Possibly a bit of the car bottoming out, considering how that corner is so... But that is so, like, downhill into that braking zone. Elevation change probably unsettled everything in that M2. Seen it before, so... Taniguchi's really pouring the gas. He's in the top 4, but he's pushing like he's in 7th. I suppose it can never hurt to get some breathing room when Vegas is still right there. Now right onto the back bumper of Vert, not really given any room there. Entered the vortex of danger, but makes his way into 3rd place. And out drags Honoka and Dedrick, looks like even. Certainly got Honoka, and around the outside of the Tuscan. From one of the original 6 to another, Hikari is the new leader, and Honoka is going to try and capitalize on follow up on Taniguchi's overtake, but this isn't going to have the momentum. Down the inside and contact! That's the last thing you wanted, because then that takes both of you out of the top 4. Bit of an amateur, a bit of a clumsy mistake from Honoka there. She almost got into him again. She does get into him a second time, although not very much. That's kind of contact that wouldn't give damage. However, that doesn't matter, because contact that gave damage was already made. The background, Vert and Vegas are fighting for what will become 2nd place. Don't know why they're squabbling over it. This is a driver that I really didn't expect to see much out of. Tokai Kaneshimi has been pretty much a no-show for most of Season 2. I routinely forget she's in the Challenge Series at all, I must be brutally honest. She never talks to anybody. She just kind of exists, but she's now found herself in the top 4 following Honoka's clumsy folly a minute ago. Sharing it with Vegas, Vert, and Hikaru Taniguchi. And has it by a pretty safe margin. Compa's 5th, but that's still a good few seconds away from the RX-8 driver. Probably about 4 seconds clear of them. And then Kazuo Kasai is kind of hanging with Compa. Fujikawa's with them as well. There's a lot of RX-7s in this race. There's like, well, if we count all of the rotaries in general, there's like 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that might be it. Nope, 6. 6 rotary powered cars out of a 20 car group. And 2 of them are going to qualify at the rate things are going. Hikari's victory is not by any means set in stone yet. Vegas is still right there on its tail. And the Maserati Gran Turismo is definitely going to have an advantage when it comes to a straightaway. And there are like 3 of them on this track, so Hikari will want to be wary of that. Kaneshimi is actually trying for extra credit. She's right on the back of Kerry Vert's FC. You know, of course, you can do the top 4 and you qualify, but you make a pass for 3rd, or for any other position, any pass after you're in the top 4 does mean you start 5 places higher in the first round of the championship, so making an overtake here could be the difference between starting in 18th and starting in 13th for Kaneshimi. And she's looking poised to make it happen. She couldn't be any closer to the back of Vert's car without taking the rear wing off of it. And at this rate, you might as well try and do that, because it's the final lap. Go for broke! And out of the final turn, the seasoned veteran of Hikaru Taniguchi is going to show off some of that experience, taking the victory at Kyoto Park. Violetta Vegas, Kaneshimi is going to steal 3rd, and Vert will take the final qualifying position. Compa's the first loser, followed by 3 rotary machines, and then Umi. 9 cars made it through this race with no damage. Race with no damage, and Dedrick ends up 10th after taking some about midway through. But yeah, we're starting to get most of our field here, I would say. 2 more races to go, and can't dawdle for too long because we are definitely racing the episode timer. Don't be surprised if your next race comes in the form of a part 2 here, ladies and gentlemen. The penultimate qualifying round is underway from Mount Panorama, Bathurst, at sunset. Visibility is going to be at a premium here. It's going to be like some initial D-type stuff at the mountain. You're on board with Axel Valentine and his Pantera, which should be pretty good on the straightaways, but when he gets to the mountain, I start to wonder how that thing's actually going to handle. Stephanie Kaiser is made off like a bandit off the start here, as we make our first trek up the mountain. Scott Weber with the home circuit advantage. So he should know his way around here, I would assume. There aren't many Australians in the Challenge Series, so... Down the inside, there's Skyline. You watch all of the cars trickle down the mountain twists here. And now heading on to the chase, the Pantera isn't going to go anywhere because he's blocked by a lot of traffic. 4 cars, both too wide with each other as we head towards the chase, which is not helping Axel's case at all. Uozome is forced right off the track by Maki, and he's very sideways. Punishment fits the crime there. Copeland wide at the chicane. Axel's just probably screaming internally, trying to get literally anywhere. He's done waiting. Maki and Uozome pit as they have just made big contact with each other. Down the inside. Attempted down the inside, failed on Liza Kaiser. But a much better run out of the first turn and more horsepower will make that overtake a done deal. Kaiser is doing much the same as Barber was doing in the second race of this episode. Not really getting away from Fernando Fidanzi, but just kind of maintaining distance and therefore maintaining control. Scott Weber may have the home track advantage, but Oscar Oxbridge has the horsepower advantage, and I'm sure Scott Weber is having a hard time outmatching that. Speaking of horsepower, here comes Axel Valentine down the inside, 3 wide at the entrance to Skyline. That sounds like a great idea, boys. And Valentine makes it work. He gets to 3rd with that. I guess in Scott's mind, he had to do something to try and pry something loose here. Even if Axel's gone into the distance already, Scott can still maybe get 4th if he can punch a hole in Oscar Oxbridge's defense. Or he might just find himself under threat from June Summers. Over 190 at the chase. And gets it stopped just in time. Fernando's putting pressure on the back of the 996 as well, so this is about to get very interesting as we head on to lap 3. Axel's not wasting any time though. Already into 2nd place with that very surprise attack. How long until we see him make a go for the lead? I'm going to go ahead and say probably not much longer. He's gotten a decent exit from turn 1. And with that horsepower advantage, there is hardly any doubt. Axel Valentine to the race lead. And now he just has to stay there, or at least stay in the top 4. That's all that really matters, all things considered. Meanwhile, the battle for the final position in the qualifying spots. Scott's still riding on the coattails of Oxbridge, and June Summers is getting up to them, slowly but surely. And by that I mean she's basically there, and by the end of the, by the time we get through the chase, she will be there. But obviously Oscar is in the good seat. Is he in the hot seat? He's got the track position. Scott Webber makes a peek down the inside, but Oscar's doing just enough to stay where he is, sideways down the hill. Meanwhile, up ahead, it's still kind of the same as it was at the start of the lap. Axel is gone. Oh, a huge stop. Maybe he's not gone. He is off the circuit. He's... Oh, get that stopped. He barely keeps it off of that tire barrier. He's lucky to have gotten that thing stopped. And he remains in the top 3 despite a terrible curb hop right there. He certainly doesn't avoid his fate by a whole lot. Axel's not even out of the fight yet either. You've seen he has a lot of pace. That was probably just a one-off mistake he's made by running over that curb. You'll probably... I certainly wouldn't think about hitting it again after that. And you still got plenty of space to 5th, really. He doesn't even have to worry about if Oscar passed him. It's only if June did that would be a problem. But some 7 seconds away, doesn't matter. He's down the inside of Fernando. He's still hungry. He still wants it all. He's still gonna try for that victory. And I mean, obviously, that's what you should be doing. For the previously discussed reasons. If he wins this race, he starts in 4th. If not, he starts in 9th. Nope, Stephanie goes wide. Axel sees an opportunity. Stephanie is losing control. Trying to keep Axel just at bay. A huge save to be made just there. And Fernando doesn't even try and capitalize. He just seems complacent to sit in 3rd at this point. I suppose why not? June wants that 4th place though. Same as Scott Webber's been in this whole time, right there on the back of that C3 Corvette, but just cannot find the space to get ahead, in spite of his awful cornering. Did I just hear a beep there? Fernando got into the back of Stephanie, but didn't even pass her off it, so I don't really know if that counts with going against the Fidanzi name, but, well, Lord knows these two teams have some history as well. This time he does not hit that curb, crucially. A little late at the apex of the chicane, but he'll live. He will survive, he will thrive, in fact. As he does get slowed down for the last turn, Axel Valentine wins from Mount Panorama, qualifying into the Grand Championship. Stephanie Kaiser 2nd, Fernando Fidanzi 3rd, and Oscar Oxbridge, with a pretty good showing of defensive driving skills, hangs on to 4th place over Summers and Webber. Copeland got dead. No, he didn't get damaged early in the race. I was thinking of Uzomi and Maki that were in that crash. I think he went off track avoiding that. And my brain was like, oh, he got in a crash. No, he avoided a crash. He did the precise opposite of that. And now here we go. That one's set in stone. Let's head into the final round of the episode, the final qualifier before we reach the Grand Championship. The final race before the Grand Championship is upon us. We head to Watkins Glen. And the POV driver is Pepper Mills in her recently acquired Honda NSX. Rebecca and a couple of others have actually modified their cars to run in 675 for this race. Which has been interesting to see. Some people running, you know, Rebecca's actually had that in the dirt division for a while, so it's her first time running that Camaro in a road race since the dirt division was established. Colin Morris, we see up ahead, has done the same. And so he's making his first start on a road track in a while. And here we have our literal only repeat competitor on the episode as Pepper's getting swarmed by other purple cars in the form of my mom and Nozomi. There's only one driver in this whole week who made more than one race. Tyler McIntosh. Surprised he got this thing fixed considering what happened to him on Tuesday. But he's here at his track, his team's home circuit. He has his basis of operations here at Watkins Glen, so I suppose it helped. He didn't exactly have to handle transportation of his vehicle to run this race. He was probably here when the rest of the racers got here. Pepper goes a bit wide there in the third to last turn. Tries to sneak on the outside of the Mustang of Nozomi and should do so. Oh, never mind. Caught up on traffic as Colin Morris has to retreat to the pit lane along with my mother. But we're doing well on that front. Only 2 cars pitting instead of like 8 like we've seen in previous races in this episode. Pepper is having to hold off one of probably the fastest car on the racetrack in terms of raw pace in the form of Jean Casillas. In the meantime, we scroll further up the running order and we see... Forgot that was that car. Never mind, we go back down as they were 3 wide there for a second. Pepper Mills will benefit from that. Nearly get into the back of Raven. At the moment, Eric and Tyler are hanging on to the back of the top 4. Escotori takes a peek down the inside. She wants the race lead from Neptune. And a calculated move of that. She's going to get the race lead from Neptune. Mills will finally, attempt another finishing maneuver around the outside of the S2000 Turbo. Or the Amuse S2000. Still not clear, forces Raven down a lane or 2, but that's ultimately minor defensive driving at most. Finally gets clear of the S2K. Everything is relatively pedestrian at the top 6. Really the place to look is just kind of keep an eye on Mills. She's the only person really going somewhere. Nozomi has to pit. May have been some contact up the S's when she was battling with Pepper and Raven, if I had to guess. Pepper catching some oversteer. She goes to go around the outside of the 400Z. That's as easy as you like it, all things considered. By that I mean considering where you tried the overtake at. Tyler is not being pedestrian. Tries to sneak down the inside of Eric. That's not going to work though. And we did have a change. Bradley Hunter took 3rd from Aya Tsubaki. And now Pepper Mills is going to try the outside of Tyler. That's going to cross over to the inside. Space is left between both drivers. Probably a lane on either side, honestly. Pepper is clear into 6th place, though, with that. Thing is, the way that she has her NSX set up, it really struggles in a straight line, and we're seeing that with McIntosh going back down the inside of her. But the lighter car means better brakes. Bradley's going to make up another place on Melissa Neptune and the heel, and then outdrag her on the exit, which is really impressive to outrun a 4-wheel drive car on the corner exit. But I guess that's the benefit when you have a car that could probably double as a drag racer if you really wanted it to. But that's what his Chevelle's for. He doesn't have that's not what his Nova is for. 2 laps to go before we decide who our final contestants will be for the Grand Championship. Aya under huge pressure. Eric goes down the inside of the Camaro driver, and Pepper Mills is in the catbird seat, depending on what happens here. They will both clear the Camaro, heading towards the S's. And Pepper's going to try to sneak on the outside of the Ferrari. She'll get her nose there, and Eric has to accept that. And so Pepper will sneak her way into the top 4. And I was going to try the driver's left of Neptune, and just embarrasses her on the entrance to the bus stop. The NSX showing that the lightweight is really good for cornering. Who would have thought that? The surprise of 0 people, lightweight cars turn well. On board with Mills as she runs down the 2 lead cars. Seems Eric has a message for Neptune, tries down the inside of her R33 but can't get it. It is a train of epic proportions now behind Neptune. 6 cars are caught up in it as we head towards the final lap here of episode 95. For the race win, it's Kotori versus Hunter versus Pepper Mills. And for the final qualifying spot, it could be a number of people. But the main battle is whether it'll be Neptune or Eric Wojciechowski. Tyler's making a case for himself too. He gets down the inside and ahead of the Camaro of Aya Tsubaki. This would be quite something, and I almost dread it if he gets into the championship and he has to face down Uni again. CS ahead of the Camaro as well. Around the outside, oh man, oversteer and gets into the back of Kotori for good measure. Pepper made the pass, but at what cost? Well, why don't she ask the insurance company that? Still, it's the final lap. It's not going to make a huge difference in the race results. Obviously, nobody likes getting run into, but if you're going to hit somebody, hit someone on the run up to the finish line where the damage can't affect the car or the driver in any way. Wanted to maybe try and send a sneaky move on the outside, but Kotori brakes late enough to prevent that decision making. Meanwhile, in the background, it's still technically to play for. Eric, the door is closed. Eric cannot get there. He can't get there, Eric. And it doesn't look like Pepper's gonna get there either. Kotori has the straight line speed advantage. While not sacrificing too much in the corners, Pepper's pushing the car and the track limits, but it is insufficient. Kotori Minami is gonna head from the last turn and grab the checkered flag at Watkins Glen and grab one of the last 4 spots in the Grand Championship. Pepper Mills, Bradley Hunter, and narrowly, Melissa Neptune will be joining her there. And that will conclude matters for episode 95, as the cooldown lap runs for a few moments. We look now to the full grid order for the Challenge Series Grand Championship. The starting grid for round 1 will be as precisely as follows. Chika Takami, Barbara Page, Hikari Taniguchi, Axel Valentine, and Kotori Minami as the 5 drivers who won races in this episode. Followed by Francesca Fidanzi, Miyako Katsumi, Violetta Vegas, Stephanie Kaiser, Pepper Mills, John Thrasher, John Large, Fukai Kaneshimi, Fernando Fidanzi, Bradley Hunter, Donnie Anderson, Sarah Uni, Carrie Vert, Oscar Oxbridge, and Melissa Neptune rounds out the starting grid for round 1. Which, spoiler alert, that means she'll be the POV driver for the first race of the championship, because that's how it always has worked. But that is for a later date. But for episode 95, this is the end. Why am I doing that?